Welcome back to Unleash Success. This is your host, Corey Corpodian. Today starts our first episode where I interview everyday entrepreneurs, people making $1,000 to $10,000 a month, and some of them even more than that. We're going to go through their day-to-day strategies so we can teach you how to become successful yourself. If you're interested in starting your own online business, or you want to know how to start a business or even grow your own business, be sure to go to unleashsuccess.com/startup to be able to download the free guide that I put together, whether you've got a product, a service, or you don't even have a product. I'll be able to teach you how to start making money today. So that, again, that is www.unleashsuccess.com/startup. The link will be in the show notes. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please go do that right now. And again, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, I'm going to be dedicating a lot more time in 2020 towards growing the YouTube channel. And if you'll see the production quality on the video we just released for episode 87 with Sam Bakhtiar, that is one awesome interview. And it's really cool because we do the interview in front of his amazing black Lamborghini. That was just a beautiful car, and in his house. It was a phenomenal interview. If you listen to it, great. If you want to check it out, go to YouTube. The link again will be in the show notes. And thanks for subscribing. And now for today's episode.
Welcome to the Unleash Success Podcast, where we break down the secrets of success to give you real tools and strategies that get real results. And now, here's your host, Corey Corpodian.
Welcome back to Unleash Success. This is your host, Corey Corpodian. Today, guys, I'm pretty excited. I've been trying to connect with this guy for a while to get him on the show to interview him. And some of you who are around my age might remember this. His name's William Hung, and he was on American Idol, famously for the audition of She Bangs. And it's funny because we connected in a completely different way through an entrepreneurship group we were on Facebook. And he talks about how he became famous kind of for all the wrong reasons at first. But what really struck out to me is his inspiring story about why he got into karaoke singing in the first place. I'm going to let him share that story, but I got to tell you guys, this is truly something you should pay attention to, because if you're living a life that doesn't feel purpose-driven, filled with meaning, and you're kind of just going through the motions, this guy's story is going to change your life. And I want to tell you that now he's been coaching online. He's been helping people learn to tell their story and learn to get out of their own life so that they can actually speak and empower people. He's been speaking at different stages. His latest TED Talk has been viewed over 35,000 people in less than a month. And now he's going to share his strategies for success today. Please welcome William Hung.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on the show. Man, I got to tell you, it was so funny. I saw that post. And for people who don't know, the American Idol show, hugely popular. And She Bangs was a phenomenal viral sensation. I want to know, going back, the story about why you got into karaoke in the first place and how you had the confidence to step on that stage. Was a little bit about you were playing video games and Final Fantasy, I think. And so
yes.
Talk to us about what your realization was that changed your life.
Yeah, so what happened was I studied for civil engineering at UC Berkeley. I wasn't doing well and I felt depressed. So one of my roommates introduced me to this video game called Final Fantasy X in PlayStation 2. It was one of the most popular role-playing games at the time. And I spent like over 200 hours in that fantasy world. And I finally beat it. I got all the level ups, 100% completion, yes. But then something is missing because I saw the fantasy story about the heroes. It's like, oh my goodness, they finally got what they wanted. But what if I could become a hero in real life? So a few days later, I saw this poster for a school talent show. And I thought maybe there's an opportunity. So I sang my favorite song, She Bangs, by Ricky Martin, and I won. So that's what gave me the confidence to audition for American Idol.
That is just amazing. One of the things about the Final Fantasy game that I know your kind of story a little bit is you saw this hero, and in the game they have these non-playing characters.
Yes.
They just walk around in the game, always doing the same thing. If you've ever played video games, and I used to play all the time as a kid and even in college, you see all these characters. They're just on a loop.
Yes.
And you said you felt like you were an NPC in your own life.
That's right.
But you wanted to be the hero.
Yes.
What? A lot of people feel that way. A lot of people are struggling with like the rat race of life. Wake up, go to work, Monday through Friday, and then finally on the weekends they get to relax. Yeah. And they're stuck. And karaoke is not. I do not do karaoke. I'm not a singer. I don't like it. I'm not. I just no. I don't want to go. And I've only done it a handful of times in my entire life. How'd you make that leap? Like, where'd you get the confidence to just be like, I'm gonna go do this?
Because I started singing karaoke with my parents since I was 10 years old.
And so this was, so you're used to this, but did it, you kind of got, famous for, like you said, for all the wrong reasons at first. What was, when you won the karaoke, when you started actually performing, like, how do you have the confidence to step on stage?
I just tried. I thought that there's nothing to lose, so that's why I went for it.
So when you talk to other people about them finding their story in their voice to connect to it, how do you empower them to also realize that there's nothing to lose?
Because when you share your stories, and usually the most effective stories for connecting with people are personal stories that show some kind of failure and frustration and how you overcame it. So for my case, there was a lot of frustration, like I mentioned already, because I feel like I'm just another student. I'm just another Asian dude on the Berkeley campus. It's like, is there more to my life?
A lot of people feel like they want more out of life. And now you're actually doing it. Like you said, your latest TED Talk had over 35,000 views in the first month. And you've helped people all around the world uncover their voice.
Yes.
What do you think has been one of the secrets to your success?
I would say the biggest secret is really not a secret at all. The biggest secret is to take personal responsibility for your own progress.
I love that. Full ownership.
Yes.
Do you think that you'd be where you're at today if you hadn't stepped on stage and tried out for that karaoke?
No. And that's why I'm always grateful for the American Idol experience, whether people view it as positive, negative, they want to criticize my singing talent. I care more about the actual impact that I'm making for the people.
It's such a positive outlook. It's funny because everybody loved you. It was just like, it was an interesting thing, but I'm sure you got a lot of criticism, just through the process. How do you handle that?
The way I handle the criticism from American Idol regarding my lack of singing talent or portraying Asian stereotypes, the way I handle it is I just let people know that in life, it's okay to try. It's okay to chase your dreams.
It's so empowering to hear you say that, because I'm sure that obviously you were a different type of American Idol audition, but yeah, right. And people really did fall in love with you. It was a very enjoyable thing. Did you had you actually got a studio album out of that, right?
Yes, 3 albums.
3 studio albums, some of them hitting #1 on the independent Billboard charts.
Yeah, the first one, the Inspiration, yes.
And it is an inspiration. I mean, here you are actually doing it despite everybody saying that you don't have the normal talent maybe that they were looking for, or portraying, like you said, Asian stereotypes. And I just want to know, like, I understand the idea that it was different and you want to go after it, but so many people are sitting there and they want to start a business. They want to do public speaking. Maybe they won't even want to go try out for American Idol.
Yeah.
And well, how do you get over your fears?
One of the best questions that you can ask is, what's the worst thing that can happen to you? And then maybe it's not that bad. Like for the American Idol, for my audition, the worst thing that could happen to me, nothing happens. I just go back to school, not a big deal. So if that's the worst thing that can happen to you, it's really not that bad. But I guess my case was unique because that's what I thought, right? When I didn't make it to Hollywood, I thought, okay, I just go back to school, not a big deal. And then 4 months later, everything changed.
I mean, it did, right? I mean, this put you on a completely different trajectory for life.
Yeah.
And so just everybody who's listening, it's like, what if that one time you didn't try out, or what if the one time you did try out and you could be the next William Hung?
Yeah, yeah. It's about finding your unique own value and then finding your own best path in your life.
So that was, what was it, like 15 years ago?
Yes.
So let's fast forward to what you're doing now. You're helping people find their voice, leveraging public speaking, understanding their unique message.
Yes.
William, what exactly, what's the process to finding your own story that you help other people do?
I would say the first step is to, like I mentioned, find a personal story where you experience failure and frustration, and then come from a place of empowering other people, because there's a big difference between saying, like I give another example. I went through 2 divorces not that long ago. Maybe the last divorce happened. 2 of them, yes.
Wow.
So I would say that the last divorce happened maybe like 3 years ago. The first one maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And then the way I tell that story is I don't go blame on other people. I don't blame on my ex-spouses. I put it on myself for not getting clear on my values and visions and what I want in my life.
Well, I mean, I didn't think we would get into that part, but it's so powerful. A lot of times people don't even know their own values, really. I mean, they say they want one thing, but their actions say another thing. Yes. What were some of the values that you said you wanted, but maybe you weren't very clear on?
I thought that in terms of like 5-6 years ago, I thought I was daydreaming. I don't even know why I really wanted it, except that my parents told me that, hey, William, you are approaching at the age 30 years old. When are you gonna get married? and then what? And then my dad, you know what he did? He actually pretended to be me on a Chinese online dating website.
No way.
Yes. And then once he found the girl that he thinks is right, he told me that, okay, you go talk to her. I won't reveal the name, okay? But you go talk to her. And then I did. And then we had some meaningful conversations. And then I find myself traveling to China to date her for a week, and then we got married.
After a week, or like?
Yeah, after 1 week. It's so crazy. I don't know what it was. Maybe some kind of impulse or intuition. I just went with it. I thought, maybe marriage is not that hard. Maybe I could have a happy life, ever after. But of course, it's not meant to be.
Wow, man, that's what a story. Wow, after 1 week.
I know.
What you're kind of living like, flying just each and every way, go karaoke, American Idol, get married after a week. It's very interesting and a unique personality trait that obviously is beneficial though, right? I mean, what makes you say go? What makes you, what allows yourself, or how do you allow yourself and tell yourself that I can take this leap of faith and everything's going to be okay on the other side?
Well, for the record, I am not doing that again. I'm not gonna marry anybody after just dating for 1 week. But I would say that my next major leap of faith will be quitting my job, probably in the next couple months.
And but how do you know that? Like, I mean, obviously you've done it a couple times, but so many people struggle to take that leap.
Yes.
To blindly jump into the unknown.
Yes.
How have you been able to do it?
It's a great question because this time around, for my decision to quit my job, I thought about every aspect of my life very carefully. So it is beyond the money. It is because I want to start deleting my bad mental programs that exist in my head for so many years. I have all these mental programs in my head that tell me like, you shouldn't do this. You're not ready for this. You can't do this. It's too hard. It's too risky. It's too dangerous.
And how are you deleting those?
Well, I would say delete. I would say minimize, eliminate. The way I get rid of it is I tell myself that I have great friends and mentors and coaches to support me in this journey. If I'm willing to take inspired action, I don't want to say massive action, but inspired action, because there's a difference between just grinding through the motions, like you said, like 8 hours a day, versus like taking like 1 hour focused action every day.
I really like that. It's funny. I was just talking to my dad about taking massive action. I'm like, I do take a lot of action.
We do take a lot of action. Right? We're not saying to be, I'm not saying it's easy, but yeah.
And it's funny though, is that inspired action it's so true though. I wake up and I write down 1 to 3 things that, if I can accomplish this, I call it just a power action list, because I want to make an impact on my own life. And if I can just accomplish the first thing, if I can get to the second thing, great. If I got all day and I get all 3 things done, it's amazing. But if I can just do this one thing today, it'll make everything better.
Yes.
And so that's, I look at that and I'm like, man, that's kind of similar, where I'm taking a lot of action, but it's focused, inspired action.
Yeah.
What are some like habits that you've had to like kind of reprogram your mind in a way and take these inspired actions?
Well, one of the first things is I used to be a mess in terms of how I manage my life. I mean, and nobody can see it, right? It's all invisible. But the way I had to tell myself to change that is like, okay, well, when I finally quit my job and become free, it does not mean I don't have to put in the work. Right. We're not going to be at the beach sipping pina coladas.
That's when the work really starts.
Yeah, that's actually when the work really starts. So the way I tell myself is like, I need to put in the action or whatever the work it takes, so that I can create the life that I want. So everything I do, there's no perfect job, there's no perfect business, right? Whatever you end up doing, there's gonna be things that you don't like to do, but you have to do them anyway.
Oh man, I do so much that I don't like to do, but I'm always inspired. I'm motivated by what the end goal is.
Yes.
Heavily, and I know that if I don't do it, then I'm going to be disappointed with what my life turns out, because I did stuff where I didn't want to do it forever, and I didn't even want the end goal at the end of it all, and 5 years later you wake up and you're like, what happened? So I'm curious too, is for you, what's motivating you? I mean, to quit your job, to take your coaching business and speaking and maximize that and say, I'm going to go all into this. You know, the American Idol audition we said was 15 years ago. What happened now where you're saying, hey, now's my time. I'm going all in. What's inspiring you right now?
I would say what's inspiring me is that I actually play a lot of poker as for profit. So you can say that I'm a professional poker player, and that's what gives me a new perspective in my life, because I finally realized that if you don't like the hand that you dealt with in your life, you have a choice to fold and do something different and play the next hand. You do not have to go all in on the direction that you don't like.
I love that analogy. And some people feel like the hand they're dealt is the one they're dealt for life. How did you bring that level of awareness to yourself? I mean, is it just from years of practice, or?
Yes, I played poker for over 15 years since American Idol, because I was bored in the downtime. Because when I'm doing the entertainment business, it's fun to travel and do the singing, special appearances, but there's downtime between. And then I got into online poker when there was like the golden, you could say the gold rush for poker, right, back then. So yeah, but I didn't really think much of it, and until the last several years. And then I realized that the game itself I'm so grateful that I can do it, because it teaches me new ways to look at my life.
Incredible. You know, we've kind of gone through in a short period of time on this interview so many different obstacles, ups and downs, and life experiences. Is there anything you'd go back and change? Do you regret any of it?
I would say the only thing like I regret is my impulse decision to get married so quickly. Even for my second marriage, I thought it was a bit too quick. But it's like 6 months, dating in person and all that. We see each other once a week. But I feel that I need to be more patient moving forward, and it's not in number. The way I plan to approach my next marriage, or when I find the right girl, is that it's more like having those unique experiences together. The difficult times, the hard times, talking about finance, talking about family. How do we work together as a team, right? When we go through those phases, that's how I know I would have found the right person.
Man, you're so right. I've been putting my relationship through the ringer this year, starting a new business myself, remodeling the house, and it's been an interesting. But one of the things that we always talk about, growing together as a team. It's like I can't do everything on my own. She can't do everything on her own. And so if we don't grow together as a team, we're only going to grow apart, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so it has to be. It's almost it's a job. You have to work on it, and if you don't work on it, then things happen, unfortunately. But I wanted to ask you too. Just you've got such a great message. You really have hit so many different parts of life with your message. If someone wants to share their message, what are some ways that you suggest doing it? We can start with, obviously, public speaking is one thing, but even just doing a TEDx talk, that's a step up from just doing regular public speaking. How did you get to that level?
Well, for the TEDx talks, for both of them, I was fortunate to be invited twice. But in terms of like getting on the dream stages for speaking, it's more like having a vision about where you want to speak at, what kind of people are there. It's almost like having this visual picture before you even start pursuing it. So for 2020, I already have 3 dream stages I'm speaking at. 2 of them are for Toastmasters annual conferences. One of them is for PodFest 2020. It is a podcasting festival event in Florida. So
awesome.
Yeah. So it's not for all those three, I don't mind disclosing that I'm not getting paid upfront. Okay? So it's not like those traditional keynotes where you get like $15,000, $20,000 paid, speaking gig. But I love those stages because I've been to PodFest myself. I've been annual conference. I've been attending every single year. It's like, if that's what you want, that's what makes you happy, that's what you go for, and that's how you can deliver the best speech possible, because it comes from you wanting to do it in your heart.
So when it comes to sharing your message, I know we talked about going over failure and frustration and understanding, sharing like the overcoming aspect of it. A lot of times people are afraid of sharing kind of their deepest fears.
Yeah, of course.
How do you how do we get over that? How do we understand that, if we hold back that fear, it's gonna hinder our message?
This is where working with a coach can help you. Because I am so lucky to work with a business coach this year. Her name is Louisa Zhou, from employee to entrepreneur. The way I found her was how she helped a couple of my friends in my network build their own six-figure businesses, coaching businesses. So I was like, wow, if you could get that kind of result from my friends, I know I can get more, get my own, success. It's like I feel very confident. And then the biggest things I learned from her is that she's not afraid to share her background, what she went through to get to where she is today. And the same thing I'm sharing with you and in a recent podcast and speeches. So the way to really have that confidence to share those deeper emotional stories is to come from a place of giving to others. It's like people can get so much from you when you're willing to share those lessons learned from those stories.
So true, man. And I really appreciate you sharing your stories. And, I kind of want to, as we end this interview, just a few interesting questions, man, because your life has been, pretty incredible as you took it all and risked it and just tried, just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
I want to ask, how was it when you performed live with Ricky Martin in Las Vegas? I mean, was that like a dream come true?
It's so surreal. To this day, I still could not believe I finally did it.
That is just, in my head, I can't even understand like the steps that happen. But listening to your story, I realized that you're always putting yourself out there in these uncomfortable positions in order to live your life and be the hero in your own story.
Yeah.
I just was Ricky Martin a cool guy?
Yeah. He's awesome. He's so nice. Yeah, my friend had a chance to meet him too. So yeah, he's amazing.
That's just an incredible experience, man. And I applaud you for always pushing yourself out there and doing these different things. And I got to ask, a lot of times we talk about on this podcast is the 80-20 rule. So we kind of talked about inspired action, and that's a little bit of a tidbit towards it, is that basically I think 20% of our action yields 80% of our results. And the key is knowing which actions to take. So if you were to give some advice to, either your younger self or anybody listening to this podcast, what would you say is the one thing you should do right now to really start becoming the hero in your own story?
Find a way to help others. It sounds simple, but it's more like a conscious thought every single day. It's simple, but it's not easy, because as I look at my life and what I see for 2020, after I quit my job, I would say that the temporary way that I would sustain myself is to spend a lot of time playing poker, probably like 30 hours a week, which is very substantial. And then the rest of the time, I'll continue to build and grow this online coaching business, helping more people uncover their stories. So throughout this whole process, the way that I know that I'll be giving instead of just, focusing on myself is that I already lined up speaking events, special appearances to make a difference for the different communities.
Absolutely. So true. And, I've been doing a lot of interviews lately, and that keeps coming up. And it's one of the things that's why I started this podcast. But it also is one of the things that give more meaning and fulfillment to our lives is when we do things that not only help us, but help other people as well.
Yes.
William, thanks so much for coming on this show and sharing your story. Where can everybody connect with you online?
The easiest way for people to connect is willhung.com. WILLHUNG.com. People can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Awesome. And, your life has been just a wild ride with lots of different levels of success. But for you, what's your next level of success?
The next level of success is when I can scale my current one-on-one coaching program to a group coaching program to benefit more people so that they can uncover their inspiring stories, so that they can feel heard in the world. Because let's face it, one of the most frustrating things in our lives is when we feel that nobody cares about us.
It's so powerful, and I really, really appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks so much. If you enjoyed the show and learned something of value, the one ask that I have is please go subscribe, whether you're on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube. And if you leave us a 5-star rating and review, that absolutely helps us get our message out there. Each week, I'm going to continue to interview amazing people, and we're going to break down their tools and strategies to help get you real results. Feel free to visit the website, unleashsuccess.com, and subscribe to our newsletter so you get updates each week. And remember, knowing is not enough. Knowledge alone is not power. Action is. Because action is the only way you're going to get the results you want in life and truly live the life of your dreams. So take some action, subscribe to the podcast today, and get ready to unleash success in you.